How's it going, guys? RealRadman here, back at it again with another video. Again, the review has to be with basically gameplay instead of an actual, face cam review. This will probably go on for another weekend, and then we'll get back to normal. So I apologize about that, but yeah, let's talk about the race. It was the Dover race. I get excited for Dover, mainly because I love the track. I think the track is amazing. And today we saw some special drives. So let's start with the actual review of the race. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3. And your pole sitter, Kyle Busch, he had an issue on the first pit stop, basically. The wheel just came off. the gun, apparently, the tire gun apparently just reversed engineered itself and then was making the lug nuts loose instead of tight. The wheel comes off, causes damage, but Kyle would actually recover, so that was good until the end of the race where he had another issue with the loose wheel, so that he kind of got screwed over there, but it was a good recovery for him. And man, the story of this race was Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, and Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson started last. And Jimmy was in the top 5 I think he was in the top 5 within 60 laps. That was insane to me. At that point, I was like, Jimmy's winning this race. Like, I even tweeted it. I was like, Jimmy's going to win this race. It's not even going to be close. Jimmy's going to win it. But then, throughout Stage 1 and Stage 2, we had some great racing. We did have an incident in Stage 1 involving Kurt Busch and Brad Keselowski. This was unfortunate. Obviously, when you get underneath someone at Dover, you can get really loose, especially with the rear of the car having no downforce now. Basically, they take more downforce away from the rear of the car with the rear spoiler, so it's really hard to control the car underneath someone else. And Kurt Busch learned that. He made a mistake. He admitted it. He apologized to his team. He slid up into Brad Keselowski and took both of them out, unfortunately. So that was the first big wreck. And then Kurt Busch, later on in the race, had a left rear tire cut down, and he hits the wall pretty hard. So that was the end of the day for him. And he said he was feeling a vibration and didn't bring it to pit road, so he also took blame for that. So that was unfortunate because he was having a really good run. And then we went to the real part of the race, which was a lot of fun, which was Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Larson just battling it out, lap after lap. Kyle Larson in the lead, Truex trying to get past him. And Truex was getting heated. Truex was not pleased with the way that Kyle Larson was racing him, and not in terms of not dirty, but Kyle Larson was definitely not letting him go. And that's how it should be. Like, why would you let someone go? There's no point. So we're here to race. We're here to provide entertainment, and this is why I really loved what Kyle Larson did. He just kept battling, and then Truex put the bumper to him, entering turn 3, moved him up the track, and what goes around comes around. That's what I said. That's why I tweeted. So you could see that Larson would probably try to pay him back. He didn't really do it. He just kind of gave him like a little tap later on in the race, but this is the racing I want to see. I don't want to see people let each other go. Let's race every single lap hard, and that's what they were doing, and it was awesome. And Truex would win Stage 1. He had a great car. I can't argue with that. He had a really, really good car. And so did Larson, and so did Jimmy, and they were kind of the top 3 all day. You had guys like Matt Kenseth that were up there, but Kenseth had an issue. He cut a tire, I think it was, and then he cut a tire in turn 3, so he tried getting on a pit road and ended up speeding. So that was basically his day over. And we had a couple of incidents. We had Paul Menard crash out, and a couple of other incidents. There was a good amount of cautions at the beginning and the middle of the race. We move on into Stage 2, and it really is the same battle. I'm not going to talk about all the strategy that was in the race because there was a lot. Teams had a certain amount of tires, a certain amount of set of tires, and all teams had to manage them. So you had Kyle Larson on old right side tires, and then new left side tires with old right side tires, and then no tires, and you also had other people not pitting at different times. So it was definitely a strategy game throughout the entire race. I can't really explain it, but when Kyle Larson was out in the lead, he usually was on older tires. And that's what created the great racing, because Kyle Larson couldn't drive away. He just had to play defense the entire time, and this is what created. He just ran the middle lane, and I'm telling you, this race, out of all the races I've seen Kyle Larson, in over the past couple of years, this one is he is special, guys. He is the future of this sport, along with guys like Chase Elliott and Eric Jones. And I think Chase Elliott will get there eventually. But right now, Kyle Larson is there, and Kyle Larson is showing that he is something special. He is the best driver I have seen since Kyle Busch entered the sport, and since Jimmy Johnson entered the sport, and obviously since Jeff Gordon entered the sport. Those are the three drivers that when they entered the sport, you just knew right away, like, that guy's great. And it happened with Jeff, it happened with Jimmy, it happened with Kyle, and it's happening with Kyle Larson. So this is the future of the sport. I think people should appreciate that. It's the future of the sport. He's the future. He's already here. He's present. He is a fantastic driver. The way he could wheel a car, it can be loose and he can just wheel that thing. I have so much praise for him. And I'm obviously not like I know a lot of NASCAR fans say, oh, Kyle Larson's your favorite driver. That's why, no, I don't. Jeff Gordon was my favorite driver. He will always be my favorite driver. No one will ever replace that. I support Chase Elliott because he's in the same car, so I'll support Chase Elliott more than anyone else. But Kyle Larson isn't my favorite driver. That's why I'm not giving him all this praise. I look at NASCAR objectively now. I don't look at it subjectively. When I watched Jeff Gordon race, it was subjective. When I watch it now, it's objective. I see everything that's going on, and I respect greatness, and that's why I respect Kyle Larson. That's why I respect Kyle Busch. It's why I respect Jimmy Johnson, and when Truex is a fast car, Truex is up there too. So it's been really, really fun to watch him. Entering stage 3, this is where it changed. So we had an incident with about 80 to go. This was in the middle of green flag pit stops. So with around 80 to go, Jimmy Johnson stays out, along with Ty Dillon, Ryan Newman, Austin Dillon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. They still haven't pitted. The leaders, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex, Elliott, Matt Kenseth, they've pitted. All right, no, Kenseth had the issue, but Kevin Harvick was up there. They already pitted. They were trying to get their lap back. Caution comes out. Jimmy Johnson's in the lead, traps all of them a lap down. So basically at that point, Jimmy has about, I think it was a 10-car buffer. Jimmy had a 10-car buffer basically on Kyle Larson because Larson, Truex, they had to take the wave around. So they were at the back of the pack. They had about a 10-car buffer. Kyle Larson, within, I think it was 15 laps, goes and catches Jimmy Johnson. It was incredible to see him just with equal tires as everyone else, just how much better he is than everyone else. It's insane how much better he is. Catches Jimmy Johnson, passes him clean, and then catches Ty Dillon, got to give a shout out to him. He did a great job when he got the track position. And then he also ended up, I don't know exactly where he finished, because I think he was involved in that wreck. I have not looked at the results, so I don't know exactly where he finished. You guys could leave down in the comments below. I'll probably just check it out after I finish recording this. I'll see where he finished, but he had a great run there, and it was props to him. But I think the race was probably over with 5 to go. You were looking at it like, this race is over. And, sure enough, with 3 to go, caution comes out for David Ragan, who blows another right front tire. This was probably the 20th right front tire blown all day. It was pretty crazy the amount of tires blown today. It's all because of how aggressive the cars were set up, and old tires and the pressure buildup and using the brakes. So it was just the normal thing of Dover. So we had the restart, and the problem here was with David Ragan's incident. There was speedy dry coming off of turn 2. There was a lot. The track was really dirty. You could see under caution, the rubber was being picked up, and rubber was everywhere. There was rubber, just loose rubber everywhere, because at Dover, since it's concrete, as you guys know, when the cars go over it at a slow speed, they basically pick up the rubber, and the rubber just kind of like flies all around, and you have to the drivers have to clean it off of their tires. So now there's just balls of rubber everywhere. That is included with the speedy dry that's now coming off of turn 2. Now, speedy dry usually doesn't have that big of an impact. As you know, we go to 1.5 miles or short track, speedy dry, you can usually run over it and there's no difference. But the problem here, and I want people to know this, is that it wasn't really the speedy dry that caused the incident at the end. It was a combination of the both. It was the speedy dry along with a lot of chunks of rubber, and you mixed both of them together, and the track wasn't completely cleaned off. I think maybe they could have added 2 more laps to try to clean it off, but it wasn't completely cleaned off. You saw Kyle Larson coming off of 2, how loose he gets, and then just mayhem occurs. The big one happens at Dover on the last or second to last lap. Jimmie Johnson crossed the overtime line, which then ended the race under caution. So a little bit of a bummer way to end the race, but like I said, just a fantastic race. Jimmie Johnson wins it. I don't even know how many wins he has at Dover anymore. Is it 11? Is it 12? I don't know. Ties Cale Yarborough on the wins list. He now has 83 wins, I think it is. So, yeah, I mean, Jimmy's a legend. We know that. He's 7-time. But I think the factor I took away from today was Kyle Larson. That he was just spectacular. And yeah, so Truex finishes 3rd. Chase Elliott gets a good finish. I think he finished 5th, I think it was, or somewhere around there, so he gets back on track. Austin Dillon gets a good finish. And I think Jamie McMurray got a good finish as well. I don't know exactly how many cars were in that wreck. There were a good amount of cars, though. I think Ty Dillon was involved, but then again, I don't know exactly where he finished. Hopefully he got a good finish, because he does deserve it. But yeah, guys, that was it for Dover. I mean, if I had to give it a grade, I give it an A. That was a fantastic race. The battles with Kyle Larson and Martin Truex, the battles with Kyle Larson and Jimmie Johnson, just a great race. All the strategy. I like the fact that teams are limited on tires. It creates a lot of strategy and creates a lot of fun racing. So, yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button on the video and make sure you subscribe. Go check out what's there. It was a great race. I'll see you guys next week, and hopefully next week I get back to normal with the face cam reviews, but probably not. So, yeah. Peace out.
I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to, and I can't change, even if I tried. My love, she keeps me warm, she keeps me warm, she keeps me warm.